Welcome to the inUpowers podcast, where we give a name and a face to emotion. We discuss the real and raw when it comes to mental and emotional health. We are here to teach you that emotions are information and behavior is a choice. We want to help you make safer connections through healthy communication by empowering you to understand what your emotions are telling you. I'm your host, Tami Hymas. Let's get started. Welcome to another inUpowers podcast. I'm Tami Hymas, and today we have Shyam, and he is with us for our inUpowers podcast because Shyam took me on a trip of my lifetime, and I've spoken about the survivors, and I've spoken about India and Nepal, and that all came true because of Shyam. A little history about Shyam. He was born in India, and he rose through the ranks and opened a school, and I'll let him explain more of that. And his wife is super intelligent and has her degree in mathematics, and I'll let him explain all of those things. And then the pandemic hit and got an opportunity to come to our country and come to school and have blazed a trail and brought the humanity and the heart that they had in India here to America, and we've met and been connected since. And before I let him speak a little bit more, this Life Spark trip that I went on, that you invited the inUpowers to, and the opportunity I got to go to India and Nepal changed my life. And I love the people of India, and I love the people of Nepal, and I love our human family, and to be able to travel so far and to be treated so well and to have had such an impactful moment just made me honored to be able to have you on the podcast. So Shyam, welcome.
Well, thank you for having me. It's a privilege for me to be here, and I'm grateful. I should have actually worn that T-shirt, but you're doing it. So yeah, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, so explain a little bit about what you did in India and your wife for them to all understand.
Sure. Before I do that, let me actually tell you how it all started. When the seed was actually planted, I served my mission, and when I was in my mission, I read this quotation in one of the books we use, Preach My Gospel. It says, leave your area stronger than you found, and that has become a guiding principle for me. I feel like wherever I am, I wanna leave areas and people stronger than I find them. And so that whole thing has really made me get involved into social work and everything that I have been involved into. I don't think so I'm qualified to do this, but my heart is there, and that's why I've done it. But in India, I think I've told you this, and I keep repeating this story whenever I talk to people. It actually started in 2012 when I met a friend of mine who became my business partner into many different ventures. But in 2015, there was an earthquake. You went to Nepal, you saw Nepal,
Yes.
and I showed you some of those.
Big.
I showed you some of those things, right? And it was really big. So when earthquake hit Nepal, it was bad, and that was the first time I became aware of a problem called human trafficking. I had no idea there was something like that existed. And when I became aware of human trafficking, I we realized that it was such a big problem that we can't put an end just by desiring it, or just saying, okay, here's a fix, because it's very organized, it's huge. And so what we learn, as we kept learning about this, we realized that a lot had to do with the education, deprived lifestyle. So me and my friend, we came back to India, and we were like, let's educate people. And that's when we started schools in India, pre-primary schools. I ran them for about 6 years. So that's how the whole school thing started. Again, going back, so because we wanted to prevent the whole human trafficking cycle.
Right. And the human trafficking cycle, some of the reasons that people and children and women are trafficked is because they're not educated, correct?
That is a very big reason. Like deprived lifestyle. So, I mean, you saw India, right? You saw
Yes.
Nepal. And what happens, when you see these families that are struggling, they don't have enough. So it's easy for a trafficker to come and dupe them and say, hey, I've got a job in India or I've got a job somewhere in US, right? And they sell the dream to these people, and they're like, yeah, I need more money, I need better lifestyle. And because they're not educated, they are easily, tricked into a lot of different things. Um, and I think, yeah, I feel like I keep repeating myself, but I think I told you that story too, where a girl was trafficked from Nepal, just, saying here's a bus ticket to Dubai. She
Yes.
wasn't educated. She wouldn't get on that bus if she was educated.
If she knew that person was out to use her over and over again to make finances better for themselves. So, human trafficking is a very heavy issue. And a lot of people don't want to talk about it, and they want to hide from it, like, la 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 la, don't tell me that people are abusing people. But they are. And it happens everywhere. It happens here in Idaho. It happens all over the United States. It happens in India. It happens in Nepal. It happens in Mexico. It happens over our entire world. And your organization found the need and has offered help and has brought resources to them, correct?
Yes, that's the whole purpose of LifeSpark, to be able to provide uh, help or the needed resources to the organizations. Because me sitting here, I can just desire for a better world, but there are actually organizations that are working at the grassroots level, that are at the front line. They're the one who's really executing stuff. So
Right.
so my goal is to be able to take people like you, all the people that we took on this trip, smart people with skill sets. We go and we offer them whatever we can, do for them to fix their issues.
Right. And I came and what did we do? We introduced the inUpowers, and they worked well. Well, they were well received.
Oh yes, yes, and I think from the day I remember we met in, I think in the Porter Park, right?
Right.
That's where I first time saw inUpowers, and it was hardly like a 10-15 minutes conversation, and I was like, this is not just a business model, this is a revelation given to you. And from that very moment, I wanted to take this to India. I wanted to take this to Nepal, and I hope that you guys get to go to every corner of the world, because
We plan on it.
and I hope that for you that happens soon. Because for me, this is for everybody. Everybody's going through things. Everyone has emotions that are not heard, not validated. People are broken. Um,
Yes.
and there are things that are happening every day that breaks them even further. So I feel like what you have built here, at inUpowers, it's like a medicine. It's a healing balm that can really fix people and restore them. And that was the reason I wanted, and I was after you after your life, that you need to come.
you,
You need to
you
come.
were.
Yeah, you need to come to Nepal, because I knew that this would become a blessing to all those survivors that are deprived of love, deprived of even identity. People don't, I mean, nobody knows them.
It's true.
I told you they're not accepted by families, not accepted by communities. So who are they? And whatever life they have lived in those brothels, they are just an object. Whoever comes
They're
there
a
after them.
commodity.
Yeah.
No human is a commodity, and no human deserves to be a slave. We are more, and we need to treat each other with that respect.
Yeah,
Sorry.
and I hope
It,
not
it
this,
impacted me. I'm like, they're not a commodity.
but that's unfortunately the truth, of
Right.
their life.
That's how they're
That's
treated.
how they have been treated. So when they get to hear, no, they can be whole, or they can restore themselves back to what they were, to their dreams and desires. I mean, what's better than that? I mean, of course, I can maybe raise so much money and give them something that they've been looking for, but then it's not going to heal them from inside.
Right.
And they needed something more powerful, something different that can heal them from inside. And that's where I feel like Power comes in place, helping people recognizing what they're going through, what those emotions are, like naming them or labeling them, or this is what this emotion is. And and maybe, yeah, people can say, oh yeah, we have a lot of different ways to identify our emotions. You may, but then I think people don't go beyond that. They don't really see, oh, why at first place did you actually experience that, and now you recognize that, how are you going to fix it? So here are the steps. And that's why I feel like this needs to be taught in every school and every prison, every hospital. you know I think, yeah.
Because we're one human family and we all experience emotions. And what happened to them is a tragedy and trauma over and over and over again. Our character for trauma, her name is Sue. She's a severe unraveling event, and she's a tsunami. And she comes in, and a tsunami literally wipes everything out. And then what was a treasure turns into trash. And takes it back out to sea, and then you are left to pick up the pieces. But no one human can pick up all those pieces after a tsunami. It takes a team, and the who we helped over there had a team, so they were slowly starting to rebuild a life and have hope. In fact, when I met the survivors, the hope, the power of their hope and their yets. Like, I'm like, what do you want to be when you grow up? Oh, I don't know. Like, grow up? Or what do you want to dream of? Dream? Like, one new girl didn't know that, but her mentor came and hugged her and said she just got here. She hasn't learned to dream yet. I found the power of yet. I felt true hope from some of the most egregious, ugliest things that have ever happened to someone, to see the most bright, smiley, capable people that are going to add to our world. And it's incredible. And it, like I said, it changed my life. But Sue, that severe unraveling event, it takes a team to rebuild. And a lot of times we have our own trauma.
Yes.
I've experienced trauma. Have you experienced trauma in your life? Never? Yeah. You were going to say no. Yes, we all have.
I was going to say no, you have no idea how many traumas I've gone through. But yes, I feel like in a lot of ways, I feel like I'm also a survivor. I've survived a lot of different hardships, yes. But yes, I have experienced traumas.
And I think that's also what ties your heart a little bit more, because you too are a survivor.
You can say that.
Yes. And
I think, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I think more than that, I think it takes time for people to really recognize who they are, what they are, or what they're going through. And that's why I keep saying that information piece is crucial. If you don't know, if you don't know something, you can't really repair, right? In order for you to repair, you have to become aware of something. If you're not aware, you can't repair. And I feel like that information became the key for me to get involved into something that I was probably never going to get involved into.
Right.
So yeah, I think people should get aware, they should take information and not, I think as we were talking about before we started this, a lot of time people think, oh, this is not my problem. I'm not the one who's going to get affected. Not today, maybe tomorrow. And when that tomorrow comes, what are you going to do?
Right.
Are you prepared?
And we always think, oh, that's somebody else's problem. What somebody else's problem will always become your problem too, because we are connected. We are one human family. And even if it's not crossing your circles for this second, it will cross your circles. As soon as you become aware, you will see it. And you will see it for what it is and how badly it can impact you, your community, and your family. And they're highly organized. Human trafficking is not a popular subject. In fact, anytime it's been on social media, we've tried to raise funds for it. There's not a lot of numbers to it. It's hard to get traction. It's hard to get it on the news. It's such a dark subject that people don't want to talk about it. They don't want it to be present in their life. But the more information you know is how you can change a child's life. The more information you know, the more you can find that something might be going wrong next door or down the street or with a family member. But when you become aware, then you're prepared.
Yes. And if you actually look at the data, it's mostly people inside homes, within your homes or within your close connections are the ones that somehow becomes involved or traffics you. Going back with my experiences, it was usually the uncle, aunts, or at times even fathers. So I think becoming aware is not just because there's a problem and let's go and fix it. I think it's more for ourselves, because we have families, we have children, we live in community, and I hope that we all love our community members, our neighbors, right? So for their safety, for our own safety, I think people should become aware and at least learn the signs, learn what are the signs of if somebody is being abused, somebody is being trafficked, and once we know the signs, we will be able to take action based on the information that we receive.
Absolutely. And after now that the podcast is coming down to a close, is there anything you want others to know or do about the inUpowers, about LifeSpark, about human trafficking, or just anything? Is there anything you want our human family to know?
Yeah, I think just what we have been talking about, become aware, learn about subjects that maybe doesn't bother you right now, or you have just heard somewhere, um, you know, dive deep into it. And I think human trafficking, um, domestic violence, these are some issues that we are part of, whether you like it or not. If it's happening in your neighborhoods, it's you could be the next one to experience that, or your children could be the next one. So I think becoming aware is the key, and that's what got me into it. And then I think as you become aware, you are going to experience emotions, and that's what you're going to need any powers. Once you experience those emotions, you need to know, what these emotions are and what do I do next, and that's where the action part comes in. What would you do after knowing what you have known? So that's I think one thing I would say about LifeSpark. I'm, as Tammy mentioned, I'm a full-time student here, so I don't get to give enough time, but my heart is there. My heart is in this work. So we organize trips for 7 days for people to come and experience Nepal and India and get to work with survivors and the leaders of the nonprofit organizations. Great opportunity to use your skill and also come back change. As Tammy said, it changed her life. Um, yeah, that's all. And then LifeSpark could not have been possible without my wife,
Oh, Radhika.
Radhika. She helped me a lot. She doesn't talk much, but she was the one. And then this first trip that we took, this was a very inspired trip, and this would not have been possible without you. Um, Thank you for bearing with me. I every week I came and spent hours with you, and you helped me organize, and so thank you.
We and the inUpowers and me and all of us are just so grateful we even had a chance, and we do love Radhika too. Um, Take the time, and if you think there's domestic abuse or human trafficking, do their research. There's several websites you can go to. Safe House Project is a huge website. You can get On Watch certified. It's free, and it helps you see the signs, and it helps you become a little bit more aware. And there are other organizations as well. Be careful when you search online. You get things, so make sure that your words are as smart as you can while you're on the internet. And we are very grateful to have Shyam on with us this week, and wanted to remind you that you really do have the power within you to change our tomorrows, and take heart in a project or something and put action to it, because when you are aware and you know better, you do better.
Yes.
Thank you so much, and remember, emotions are information, behavior is a choice, and we will see you next week. Bye. Thank you for joining us on this week's episode of the inUpowers podcast. We are grateful you are here. Please share this podcast with those you know who might need it, and follow and rate us so we can continue providing this podcast to you. Follow us on social media to see more visuals about the inUpowers, and join us next week for another episode. Until then, remember, the power to choose is in you.